Hey everyone, I have a question for you. What does startups, music, movies and TV shows, bicycles, and AIDS all have in common? Well, did you know those are topics of 5 of the most recent Tableau Public Viz of the Day winners? Yep. And in this brand new series that I'm kicking off today, I'm going to walk through each and every single one of those five vizzes, and we're going to be talking about data visualization best practices. We're going to be talking about elements of good design. We're going to be talking about pre-attentive attributes. We're going to be talking about the use of color in data visualization. And I am so excited to get this started. I'm going to be giving you resources down in the description below of how to create some of the charts that were used in these winners. And I am so excited to get started. So let's go.
All right, so this first one that we're going to be taking a look at is the Startup Race is On, and it was developed by Richard Spiegel. And again, if you want to follow along or follow Richard at all, be sure to check down in the description below to find all the links to all of these videos or all of these vizzes and any links that they pertain to. So let's take a look at this one. All right, so right off the bat, we've got a stacked bar chart. We're looking at the startup race worldwide. So this is data taken from the World Bank, and we're looking at how quickly can you start a business in countries around the world, which is pretty cool. So everybody knows that entrepreneurship is a great economic driver for countries. So you'll notice through looking at this visualization that countries really want to do as much as they can to speed up the time it takes to start businesses, right? So um, we can see really quickly that we're obviously looking at the less than 7 days because Richard has done a really great job of showing color and using color to tell the story of this visualization from the title to the rocket icon to the legend to the actual bars. You can see that he's using his colors consistently. So we can see this really kind of dark orange, this really orangish red color here in the title that also syncs up with the main part of the rocket. So really quickly, you can see here, I should probably be paying attention to the dark orange colors. And so immediately, as you see that, as you make that connection on the dashboard, your eyes are immediately drawn to that same color down in the stacked bar charts, which I think is just a really clever way of kind of starting off the story in this. So. And then it's a stacked bar chart, and he has sorted each bar by less than 7 days to be down at the bottom. That way you can see the linear progression of how each one of throughout the course of time, how well these are tracking. Another interesting. So why a stacked bar chart? I think to show just the number of countries per year. So you can see because the total number of countries in the data, and so by having by having it stacked up on each other, you can quickly see the numerator less than 7 days to the denominator. Which is really cool. So other really great things that he's got going on in here. There's really good tooltips in here, and what I really like about this is the way that he's used interactivity. So he's using an action filter on hover. And I would say that's one of the more less frequently used interaction types with Tableau is the filter on hover. But I think this works really well, really nice here, because I think what he's maybe his intent, I don't know, I haven't talked to Richard about this, but I think maybe his intent was he wanted his audience to be a very broad uh, audience. Maybe somebody who's never used Tableau before, who's not really familiar with the interactivity. But what he's wanting to do is just show, hey, when you hover on things, things are going to change. And what changes is as you hover, you can see that the list of countries over on the right is filtering down to those countries, sorted ascending by the number of days it takes to start a business. So, if you wanted to see how long did it take a certain country, how long did it take a certain country to take less than 7 days, what country was that? You can quickly see right over there on the sidebar what countries those were, which is really nice. So as it changes, you can see countries that were added or maybe removed from that list, which is really interesting. And then additional tooltips are in the country list. So if we hover on a country right here, we can actually see, we can see really quickly that New Zealand started out back in 2003. It took 12 days to start a business, and then it just fell off the table. They really did a bunch of work to make that less than a day. So, which is really kind of crazy when you think about it, right? In less than a day, you can go from nothing to a corporation or an LLC. That's pretty crazy in less than a day. So, one thing that I think is really interesting is you kind of hover on here is you can see how different countries have progressed since 2003 and making that shorter time frame. So really really cool. I do think if I were you know if I were to maybe if I were doing this, if I had made this, or if I wanted to go explore this, which you can do with a Tableau public account, you can go to this website, go to this dashboard, sign into your account, and then click, and then you'd be able to download that and open that up in Tableau Desktop and be able to kind of play around with it, find your own stories. And one of the things that I might think about doing, adding the ability to search for a country, because as you can see, there are many, many countries in this list. But I may just want to search for, maybe I want to know what my country is, right? Now, luckily, the United States is within the first fold of countries here. So I could easily just scroll down here and I can see, and we didn't, and as you can see, we've gone from 6.2 to 4.2 days since, I'm going to guess about since 2012. It looks like we weren't included in this data prior to then, but that's just kind of how things go, right? So really cool. So yeah, maybe just a country filter to do that, because getting back to the hover action, right? So why? Let's think about some reasons why he chose to do filter on hover. And I think one of the main things, as I kind of think about why he may have made that decision, was again very broad audience, right? And so maybe they're not familiar. But one of the things that this works well for is you can still interact with this. Really quickly, really nicely, really streamlined. You can really interact with it and really kind of see how things change. But because it's a broad audience who may not understand what Tableau is, and there's not a whole lot of descriptive instructional text on here, it would be really hard for a new user of Tableau to get back to normal, right? Get back to default. If there were lots of click actions and maybe some parameter selections or something like that, right? It would have been really, really hard for the user to get back to square one. But by using the hover the action filter to hover, as soon as you remove your cursor from wherever you are, you're always back to baseline, which I think is just a really nice way to make sure that your users, anybody who uses this dashboard, can one, look for their story, find insights, and then most importantly, get back to square one, right? So that they can find the next or move on to the next or start answering their next question. So really great dashboard. I've got some links down below if you want to learn how to if you want to learn how to make a stacked bar chart, some of the best practices around stacked bar charts. Also, Viz and Tooltip that he did here. So if you want to learn how to do Viz and Tooltips, I've got a link for that as well. And then also just an overall view or an overall article on introducing yourself to filter actions and just actions in general on Tableau. So great job, Richard. Okay, so this next chart that this next viz of the day that we're gonna look at is from Ryan Suarez, and it is the title of it is Most Successful Songs of 2020, and basically what he's doing is he's looking at, he went and pulled the final Billboard year-end Hot 100 chart, took the top 20 of those, and then looked and then went and got the Google search trends for the US for these songs. And then he's plotted each of the search trends on this joy plot. So that's the name of this chart. It's called a joy plot, and it actually gets its name from another music album by back in 1979, Joy Division actually did an album cover that had this type of overlay on it. So definitely check that out if you want to. And but basically, what the community, the Tableau community, has been able to do is figure out how to make a joy plot just like this. So I've got a blog post down below in the description from the Flerlage twins to kind of get yourself introduced to joy plots and kind of the history behind them, as well as how to go about creating your own. Ken Flerlage, Tableau Zen Master, actually created a template for you to download that will actually give you the ability to just plug in your data along with the template that he provides, so that you can create a joy plot for any data that you want. So one of the things that I really like about this is, obviously the first thing that stands out to me is the colors. He's chosen to use the Virides color palette, which is really nice and bright. And basically the way that you can read this chart, so across the y-axis, what you can see across each of these is the Google search trend. So if you're not familiar, Google search trend basically plots out a time frame. This is basically looking at, and the highest point is the point in which the search trends was the highest for the given time frame. So for each one of these songs, there is a highest point, and then every other point along the x-axis is in relation to that highest point. So if we just look at Blinding Lights by The Weeknd here, we can quickly see that right around March or so is when which is where the Google search trend was the highest for that song, and so on and so forth. As you can see, we've got some hover to highlight actions going on here, which is really nice. And I really like how he's put the how to read section up at the top. So right off the top, you can start reading. How do I interpret this? How do I look for this? What do I need? What are some things that I need to look at? Couple of things. If I were doing this, I think one thing that would have been really cool is to add in links. You can actually embed Spotify links within Tableau, and you can actually add little play buttons for each song, so that you'd be able to play a clip of each of these songs as you were exploring this dashboard, which would have been really nice. So one of the things, again, getting back to joy plots, that is interesting is as you can see here, there's a lot of overlap, and that that's kind of where you kind of have to make some sacrifices, right? It's going to be hard to tell exactly. Is it important to see what point for memories, right? Is it highly, how important is it to know what that value is, as opposed to when comparing it to the Bones by Maren Morris song, right? As you can see, it completely overlaps. Do I need to know exactly what that is? That's a that's a sacrifice decision that you have to make as a designer. But I think one thing that this really helps to do um, is you can quickly be able to scroll down vertically at any one point in time and see which song was the highest at that time, right? So as you can see, we're looking at if each of these vertical grid lines is a month, which I'm not sure it is or not. If we were to look at around November-ish, I would say, and we were just to scroll down this, we could see quickly what were some of the top searched songs at that point in time, right? So you can see that The Bones by Maren Morris was really high. I Hope by Gabby Barrett was really high. And then we had some peaks with Watermelon Sugar and Roses as well. So again, love this Viz. Data plus music. Always a good combination. And I really, really like this. So nice job, Ryan. Excellent stuff. All right, so then skip a few days. Looks like Tableau Public took a couple days off in their Viz of the day. Ryan Suarez was on January 4th, and Judith Becker's Set My Mind on Fire Viz came on January 11th. So a little bit of a lag, no big deal. But it's not Viz every day, it's just Viz of the day, so any day. But what we're looking at here is a really excellently designed Viz by Judith Becker, where basically this is a quantified self Viz where she put together, she logged all of the shows and movies that she watched in 2020, and which is really cool. So she's got, so obviously the first thing that strikes, that jumps out at you, is this really nice radial bar chart right up in the taking up prime real estate here. Basically what we're looking at starting at 12 o'clock going around is every single day of the year, and the length of each bar is the total number of minutes that she watched movies or TV. So really cool stuff. Again, Viz and tooltips heavily used here. So if we hover on a day, you can see a little bit of information, as well as what exactly she watched, and what was the runtime of each of those, which is really cool. So, and then as you can see in the color, she's colored each one by the source of that video, of that TV show or movie. Which is really nice. So looks like she's got Netflix, HBO Go, the cinema, and other. So that could be any number of things. Hulu, Amazon Prime, who knows? And one other, again, if we think back to Ryan Suarez, or Richard Spiegel's The Startup Viz, Judith also does a really nice job of using color in this Viz. I really like this really kind of neutral tan cream color that she used as a background. It really kind of sets the tone for the Viz. It's a very soothing color to look at. And then but even the yellows and the pinks and the reds are not as harsh, right? So it's a very soft color palette, which is really nice. But even in that, she's still using some really nice, color connections, is what I like to think about them as. So, we've got this kind of pink color here, that also translates to the pink color on the running total area graph here. The flame, the red flame, the red of the fingernail polish also correlates to the same red in the running sum area border, which is really nice. And of course, all of that goes back to, all of that is going to go back to the colors that she used for her bars. Again, I think it's just a really, really cool way of kind of connecting all of that. And then she's got some really nice text to kind of summarize everything, summarized her year in movies and TV. She talked about her favorite series, but then down here below, she talks about the ones that here are the top 5 that she watched the most in runtime. And then she gives her own star rating for those, which is pretty cool. So, excellently designed, really easy to understand. It's just a really nice viz. The one thing I would say, if I were to, you know, I would wonder. I know she's got a little annotation up here that the ones with the days with the flame on top were the best days. I would have liked to go one step deeper. The why, right? Why were these the best days? What made these days great? Because as you can see, it's not just the days that she watched the most. Maybe it was a day she finished a series, or maybe it was just she watched a movie that really that really resonated with her, or something like that. But that's or maybe that's just something that we have to derive from our own after doing this. But a really great quantified self visualization to go check out. So really great stuff. Okay, so the next viz that we're going to be taking a look at is a viz from Fred Najjar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I really like this. This is this data set actually comes from the community initiative Makeover Monday. So this was the featured data set a couple of weeks ago, looking at trail usage in the United States and the impact that COVID-19 has had on outdoor activities, which is a really cool topic, and really kind of cool data to see. So let's look at kind of some of the things that I really like. Again, if you haven't picked up yet, color is so very important when you're looking at your data visualizations. Color is so very important. Each one of these that we've looked at have had very intentional colors, and they're all connected, right? The colors that are used in the visualizations are also used in other places to help make a cohesive story. It's just a really cool way of using color to help tell a story. So again, if you look at, so he's using green, this kind of really dark green, hunter green type of color, and this kind of gold, this kind of goldenrod type of color. He's using it to signify the years 2019 as gold and 2020 as green. And so throughout the viz, throughout the three main visualizations here, anytime you see green is going to be 2020, and every time you see gold is going to be 2019. But that's not the only place he uses that. He also uses that in his little icon here, which is really cool. So by using these colors, as this is where your eye gets drawn to first. is right up in the top corner. Lots of eye tracking studies have shown. And so right away, he's setting the tone with these green and gold colors. And then you read the title, and then you read these, you kind of read this little blurb about what the data is. You pick up these two highlights right here of what those colors mean. And then that's kind of where it kind of all gets set off. So what's really interesting here is that, as you can see, both in pedestrian and bikes, trails really kicked off. You can see a big jump um, after the COVID-19, the global pandemic hit. So um, another thing that I really like with this viz is I really like how he's annotated. I'm not sure if he annotated. I think this is probably just this is just a transparent. These are transparent sheets, and this is just a gray background that he might have brought in from PowerPoint or something like that, and then set those two behind it. But a really cool way to kind of show which weeks were in there. So, really great, excellent. I really like this line chart, and also the tooltips in here are really descriptive as well. It reads as a sentence, so that's a really great tip when you're making tooltips is spell it out, right? Literally spell it out. Tell them exactly, confirm for your user what they're actually interpreting. Because they may find this point, they say, okay, what does this point mean? Oh, it means this is the number, and you can see what the you can see a percentage increase and then the actual dates as well. So yeah, really cool stuff. Okay, so this final viz of the day that we're going to take a look at, it comes from Natasha Stevenson. She's using some UNICEF data to look at the adolescent HIV contraction and death rates, or death cases, I should say, in sub-Saharan Africa. So, first thing that really jumps out at me is a black dashboard, right? So, what does that tell you? Again, thinking about the theme of color. I didn't choose it. I didn't mean to make it a theme this week, but maybe that just shows you how important this is. Color really is in DataViz, but black dashboard. And the title, right? So it would have been a little bit odd, I would say, if this were in really bright rainbow colors. You know, kind of a dark topic, kind of this is kind of serious, right? So, so that's kind of why I really like the monochrome black and white look to it. And so what we're looking at, we got a map of every province in Africa, and then what their rates are. So you can see really quickly, South Africa is the one that are most heavily hit with adolescent HIV cases. And so yeah, I really like how not only do you get to see the map as well, but here you can see the top 10 highest. So you could probably you could probably infer where the 10 are, but you would have to scroll over and see exactly where those actually fall. So so really cool. I like this. I also like that, and then you get to the top 10 here. Thinking about possible possible additions one could make is you could add a hover a highlight action that when you hovered on Zimbabwe, the province of Zimbabwe would have also done this, would have also highlighted, so you could see the actual, because that might have been interesting to see. But and then as we move down, there's even more, right? So above the fold, she's setting the stage, doing a really good job showing us the most important things, showing us the top 10, showing us regionally and geographically where those hardest hit areas are. But then she wants to take it another step deeper. So below the fold, then she gets into gender disparities, which again is, as you can see from the data, it's a very serious issue. So white dots are males and open black dots are females. And as you can see, the estimated number of annual new HIV infections is grossly disproportionate, males to females, which is really sad. As you can see, there's not a lot of variation in the male trend line, but there really is. There's some big movement in the female trend line, which is what it is, I guess. And then when we look at the estimated number of annual deaths, when we look at gender, when we think about gender disparity, it is getting better. I don't know if that's the right term, considering we're talking about deaths, but they're not as disparate, right? They're coming closer together, but still, you're talking about 20,000 deaths, and adolescent deaths in the just in the last year in 2019. So that's really unfortunate. So, but as you can see, good thing is it is on a decline, which is great. It's wonderful. And then I love how she put in this call to action at the very bottom. Call to action. So click here to help them in their mission. She added a little box with a button that will take you to their website where you can donate. Where you can donate some money to this cause to do that. So, which is really cool. So, really nice viz. This is a really good call to action viz. Really it's not necessarily the happiest of topics, but usually the most important topics aren't necessarily the happiest ones, right? So, but I think she does a really good job of just letting the data speak for itself. It's not overly designed. It's really simple. She's using bars, maps, and connected bar charts, connected dot plots, connected bars, barbells, whatever you want to call it, and even rounded bars, which trick of the trade. A rounded bar chart is just a connected dot plot with the same. It's just one of these, but this this bar that connects them is the same size as the dots. So that's how you're going to get that. Again, if you want to learn more about how to make connected dot plots, check out the description below, and we will. I've got some links down there to help you learn how to make connected dot plots in Tableau. So, yeah, really great stuff, Natasha. Love it. It's really good. Thanks for bringing this data to light and shedding a light on not necessarily just all the bad things, but some of the good things that are happening as well. Just the annual number of new vaccines new infections are down, and deaths are coming down as well. So, the mission is good, and the mission is working. So, if you are so inclined, head over to this data visualization and donate. Click that donate button and do that. So, excellent stuff, Natasha.
All right. So there you have it. 5 visualizations, 5 dashboards, 5 topics, all excellent entries. And I hope you really learned something. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, drop a comment below. Tell me what you thought. Do you like this series? What do you want to see more of? Tell me your thoughts. Tell me what visualization you're going to try and build next in your next dashboard. If you could, if you liked it, please give a thumbs up, and please share it with your network, share it with your friends, share it with your coworkers, and go ahead and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. So I'm going to be making these videos more, and don't want you to miss a thing. So make sure you hit that bell icon so that you don't miss a thing. All right. Until then, I say to you, go forth and viz.
Want more tips and tricks? Check out these videos.